tell it like it is. Don't be ashamed.
Aaron Neville is retired from singing. He lives on a farm in the Hudson Valley of New York State with his wife Sarah and beloved dog Apache Jr. Aaron met us near the farm at the historic Aikens Library to talk about the life he has lived in his recent autobiography, Tell It Like It Is.
You've done so much for New Orleans.
So has OZ.
But we're here today because we're talking about your book, Tell It Like It Is.
I mean, you know, people ask me, well, why did you want to do it? I said, because a lot of times people pass away and somebody else will write it that didn't know it. I was there, so I know all the details.
When did you feel or you know that you wanted to be a singer?
All my life. Ortiz said when I was the kid in the crib, I was standing until I fell asleep. Some of the teachers might have thought I had ADD, whatever, because I had a song in my head. I had time to listen to what they were talking about. And the music been that since Calliope Project, like with my mother and father and my brother Art.
So that your family played a big role in you learning about music.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the beginning, like my mother and her brother, Big Chief Jolly, before we were born, they had a chance to go on the road with Louis Prima. They were the best dancers in New Orleans.
Wow.
And they had a chance to go on the road with Louis Prima, and my grandmother wouldn't let them go because of the Jim Crow laws. She said, y'all wouldn't be treated right. So my mother said, well, I would never stop any of y'all for your dreams, you know. Charles went on the road when he was 15.
And you also mentioned in your book you were finding your way around your voice. How did you do that?
Well, I had teachers, you know. My brother Art was the first, because he had that high tenor, you know. Man, he was something. And then they had the stuff I read on the radio, like Clyde McFadden, and I'd go to the movie and see the Cowboys.
And then you talked about St. Monica's and the golden rule you looked from your mother. Was that the beginning of recognizing your spirituality?
I was into it deep, you know. I loved everything about the catechism and going to church and listening to the choir.
As a youth, when you were really young, you recorded, I think, with some of your high school friends?
We were singing stuff like the Flamingos, the Moonglows, Pookie Hudson and the Spaniels, and, you know, all the pretty stuff. One of the first gigs I had beside the Hawkettes was I played on Toulouse and Bourbon at a place called the Driftwood Lounge with an all-blind band. Art Jones, the bass player, upright bass, it was his band. Boy Blue on sax, Snooks Eaglin on guitar and vocal, and me on piano and vocal. And the next thing I did with Leo Morris, Idris Muhammad, got me the gig with the high school music teacher, Solomon Spencer, and the band's called Avalon.
When you recorded Tell It Like It Is in 1966, had the studio changed from when you had been in there the first time?
They were using the tape, you know, instead of the stuff they use today. And thing about it wasn't no overdubbing and all that. What you did was how it came out. The record Tell Like It Is, that maybe did about 4 takes. They took the first one because of the innocence. Because after that, you're trying to duplicate, you know, and the first one is the stuff. And I was looking at an up-tempo song I had, and Art said, no, that one right there.
And I'm not your little boy.
So Art had an ear for knowing which songs were really gonna get to people. And then also in the 70s, that was when your uncle, Jolly, he started masking as an Indian. And he sort of changed as a person, right? He sort of found his spirituality.
Yeah.
What was that like, seeing him and remembering him from your uncle as a kid and then seeing him as Big Chief Jolly?
Well, he was always a big figure to us, you know, like when we was living in the project. He had his ratty walk, you know, and he come to the project, I see him. So I started trying to walk like him. And he showed me all that stuff on the piano, like, you know. And he was just a big figure in our life. And he treated us like, you know, not like kids, you know.
But you helped Jolly make his suits.
He was living next door to me. I'd sit over there with him, and he'd be sore, and I had to go get him thermos because his fingers were bleeding from the needles, you know. And I'd give him the beads or feathers or whatever. Thing about it, it wasn't just masking for Mardi Gras. It was a yearly ritual. You know, they were into this from the heart. And Jolly had his songs, and he wanted his nephews to, you know, to do them with him. So he called us. Charles was still in New York. Art and Cyril were with the Meters. And we got in the studio, and nobody had to tell nobody, well, you take this note or that note. Everybody knew what note they took, and it just came and blended like that. So after that, I said, Jolly said, you know, your mom always said she wanted to see all y'all together. And I said, yeah, well, this is a chance, you know. That was 76, 77. Him and Cyril quit the Meters, came together in New Orleans.
Jolly was bringing you guys, the brothers, together for the first time.
Well, yeah, we was playing Tipitinas, and Bette Midler came in, and I was singing Tell Like It Is, and she was swooning and just slipped down on her chair. And she came in, they said, y'all have a contract with anybody? I said, no. She called Jerry Moss and her up Apple at A&M Records, said, man, sign these guys. That was, so I said, that's when I figured I had to get my life straight, you know. And I made plans with the manager at the time, Bill Johnston. I wanted to go into rehab. All before that, you know, rehab was something scary. Like I was there in New York at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting there playing the piano, so I'm singing Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers, and there was this poem that I had to recite in my 6th grade class called Lovely Lady Dressed in Blue, Teach Me How to Pray. I put that to music that night, like somebody was telling me how it went, you know. It was like the kid in me, scared, you know. I know the streets, but I don't know this other thing. They tell me I know rehab.
The bands that you went on the road with, they seek you out, like the Rolling Stones. Did they come to you and say, we want the Neville brothers to open up for us?
Yeah, that's what it was. Or through Bill Graham, whatever.
And Bill Graham also introduced you guys to the Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead.
What was it like going out on the road or playing with those guys?
It was great. The first time they said, don't eat nothing or drink nothing from nobody. I was clean then, so, you know, I wasn't doing nothing. One time we were playing at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco, and Bill said, you know, I was feeling bad. I was getting ready to leave, and y'all started playing. I feel all right. So you ought to make a Neville pill.
So you guys were always changing people with your music, opening them up, bringing them joy and positivity, and getting them to really, really dance.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's about, yeah.
So when you were backstage, you got to hang out with Jerry a lot.
Oh, yeah, he was cool, yeah.
You know, and you guys jammed together, right, backstage? What would you guys jam on?
Well, they liked the Neville Brothers stuff, you know, so they took like, what it was, Giacomo Finane and all that, and he said, instead of my spy boy, he said, my spy dog and your spy dog. They put their words in it, you know, and they had on no beat. Dun, 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 dun.
Is that where you all picked up wearing tie-dyes all the time from hanging with them?
No, Charles was always in the tie-dye. Charles was a born-again hippie.
When you're playing with the Stones and the Grateful Dead, these are big shows.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one you mentioned that was really big is playing with Tina Turner.
Oh, wow, that was crazy. You're playing soccer arenas with 80,000 people out there, you know.
And now another song that was a big staple of the sets for the Neville Brothers was Amazing Grace.
And it started being like my testimony, you know. It'd be like a cleanser, you know. I'm sorry for the stuff back then, you know, and...
Like confession.
Yeah. So, you know, all of it was confession, yeah.
Like me. I was blind, oh, now I see.